Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another video on the channel. And today guys, we are going to be continuing our 3-game match reviews for the 2022 AFL season. So in today's video, we are going to be reviewing the final 3 games that round 9 had for us. And there was some big games in these 3 games as well, massive games. Learned a lot, as we always do in these match reviews. So we're not going to waste any time in this video. We've got Gold Coast versus Fremantle, then GWS versus Carlton, and then West Coast versus Melbourne. So let's go ahead, start off with things. These are all on the Sunday. Gold Coast versus Freo is first. So, Gold Coast 10-9-69 defeat Fremantle 4-9-33. So 69-33, you may be wondering, geez, that's low scoring. Well, it was pouring down with rain on the Gold Coast. Obviously, if you know what Brisbane, Gold Coast, all that have been going through up there with the weather, it's been pretty bad. So obviously not great conditions to play footy in, and it just suited Gold Coast better. And this is one of the upsets of the year, and Gold Coast have done it multiple times. They've beaten the likes of Carlton and Fremantle. They almost claimed a massive scalp over Melbourne. They lost by 13 points to Melbourne. So they have actually played some pretty decent games, and they beat West Coast some in the West, and some other games that haven't been great. So the Suns, it's been an interesting season for them. For the Dockers, they've had everything going their way, and this game ended. And this was a game they probably should have won, but again, they were just not in the game at all. They did lead at quarter time by 2 points, 13-15. But yeah, second quarter, that was when the Suns just opened it up. They started getting a little bit of a lead on their hands, led by about, it was 35-16. So they had a pretty comfortable 19-point lead at the main break, did Gold Coast. And not really overly a lot went on in the third quarter. Just a goal to the Suns. And you see there, though, the Dockers were kept goalless. They got 2 goals in the first quarter. They got 2 goals in the first quarter, no goals in the second or third quarter. So they were held goalless in those 2 quarters. And that just allowed the Suns, even though they may not have been too far ahead, just to get a little bit of a jump skip on them. And in the final term, they dealt the knockout blow and just finished off Fremantle. This is definitely not an effort that you see from Fremantle a lot, but we are Gold Coast. They all of a sudden go to 16 points and are sitting just outside top 8. Could this be the year for them? Maybe, maybe not. Don't know yet. But Took Miller 34 disposals. Mubby Troll 4 goals. Mubby Troll was fantastic. He was probably one of the best on ground. Took Miller 128 fantasy. And Caleb Strong laid 14 tackles. It was wet. It was scrappy. It was hard to play footy up there. And the Suns just got the better. 128 fantasy for Miller, as I said. 126 fantasy for Sarong. 113 for Akers, who's injured. 110 for Logue. 108 for Aish. 103 for Witts. 102 for Brody against his former club. 99 for Brayshaw. 92 for Anderson. Goals behinds. 4 goals for Troll. 2 for Casbolt. Those were the only multiple goal scorers. Neil Erasmus got a goal for the Dockers. Fiorini, McPherson, Witts, Sawolo for the Suns, and then Lobb, Darcy, Frederick were the only others for Fremantle. Now that we're going to go and have a look at disposals. 34 for Miller, 29 for Logue, so showing that the ball was in their back half a fair bit, the Dockers. 27 for Brody, 26 for Anderson, Sarong and Brayshaw, and then 24 for Aish, 23 for Young, 22 for Akers. We'll go and have a look at marks now. And marks, 11 for Logue, wow, 10 for Lemons and 8 for Butterick and Aish. Tackles, 14 for Sarong, 10 for Holman and Brayshaw, 9 for Jared Witts. And now to the last thing, the hitouts, 39 for Darcy, 29 for Witts, 7 for Lobb, 2 for Mubby Troll and Levi Casbolt. Now to the team stats. The Dockers went inside way more. They went inside 50 way more than the Suns and could not do anything. That's a shocking stat there, actually. That is a shocking stat. Yeah, that's crazy, that one. That's crazy. But clearances were dominating in favour of the Gold Coast Suns. Don't see anything else that's that great. But yeah, the sloppy weather footy was way more suited to Gold Coast than it was Fremantle. And Gold Coast, they get the job done in really rough conditions. And well, they did need this win. They needed this win to just send alerts to the competition. They've come off a win against the Swans. They've produced 2 upset wins in a row. Wow, this team is going all right. Now, Leon Cameron's farewell game doesn't go to plan as GWS 11-9-75 get beaten by Carlton 15-15, 105. Carlton, they've got something really special with their team, and they are doing something really great this year, and I would say top 8 contention for sure. They've locked themselves away in the top 4 for now, but I feel like top 8 for them for sure. I feel like if they don't make it, it'd be a massive choke for them. So, Carlton, they started it well. They had all the attention in the first quarter. They were up none to 26 at one stage, and that pretty much is why the Giants didn't win the game, pretty much. That first part there, where Carlton just got 4 goals in a row, that's why the Giants didn't win the game. They did come back in the second quarter, however, they did kick a few late goals in at the end of that first term to just really try and bring it back to around 10. Halftime was locked at 47 apiece, but the third quarter, the Blues just had the better of them, only having a slight 6-point lead or a goal lead, and then final term, they blew it out and did what we know Carlton to do so well and blow out the game. And they were good, the Blues. 36 Spurs for Josh Kelly, 2 goals for Harry Himmelberg, 134 fantasy for Josh Kelly, 7 tackles for Josh Kelly. So it was a Josh Kelly masterclass from the Giants, even though they couldn't produce the win. 115 fantasy for Doherty, who produced a long bomb. Walsh got 2 pretty good goals early on in the game to lock away 110 fantasy. 108 goes for Bruce, 105 for Kennedy, 103 for Perryman, 98 for O'Brien, 97 for Hewitt, and 95 for Adam Shearer. Now, 2 goals for Himmelberg and Riccardi and Walsh and Durden and Green and Silvani and Kerner and Fisher. Wow, that's a lot. Let's just go back through them again. Himmelberg, Riccardi, Walsh, Durden, Green, Silvani, Kerner, Fisher. Wow, that's a lot of players getting 2 goals. And then 1 goal for O'Brien, Kelly, Ward, Kennedy, Perryman, Kennedy, another Kennedy, Callaghan, Doherty, DeConing, Motlop. It was spread. The load was spread between everyone, which is nice to see when you get some of those goal scorers that don't normally score goals getting a goal or 2. Josh Kelly, 36 disposals, 31 for Walsh, 30 for Hewitt, 28 for Doherty, 27 for Tom Green, 27 for Kennedy, and then 26 for Paddy Cripps. Marks, 10 for Newman, 10 for Doherty, 8 for, a lot of players. Plowman, Kennedy, Wiedering, O'Brien, Silvani, and Perryman. That's a lot for 8 marks as well. And the total was 7 for Kelly and Trerrett 6 for Taranto. Now we'll go into the hitouts. 44 for Bruce, 11 for DeConing, 2 for Silvani and Cripps. So it does show that the Blues do have ruck problems, but even in this, they won the game. And look at that. Disposals, kicks, handballs, and inside 50s dominated in Carlton's favour as well. And then hitouts was GWS, but clearances were Carlton, but centre clearances were GWS. Let's see, is there anything else that's interesting? Marks inside 50 was Carlton as well. They won that 5-12. They led the entirety of the game, did Carlton, except for that time where it was obviously a draw. Their biggest lead was the final margin of 30 points. So unfortunately enough, Leon Cameron's farewell game is not how he would have wanted it to have been, but the Giants still compete and put up an effort over a very good Carlton team, and Carlton win by still a very nice, comfortable margin of 30 points. And now, Melbourne smashed the Eagles in the West by 74 points. West Coast 5-8-38, lose to Melbourne 16-16, 112. Not great for the Eagles. They do kick the first goal, but you can just see again, their scores just are the same as they always are, week out, week in. So they kick a goal, they kick the first goal of the game, and then they concede the next 6 goals at quarter time. And Melbourne surprisingly didn't do a lot in this game, actually. They were second and third quarter, were held to pretty much a 40-point margin the entire time, with West Coast actually doing something. But West Coast, again, they didn't manage to produce anything in the second or third quarter. And the Demons still had better quarters, even though they didn't really do a lot. And then final term, let's go bang, 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 bang to finish off the game and make it a big 74-point win. And if you didn't already know, West Coast are definitely going through a rebuild right now. It is definitely rebuilding time for West Coast, and they've not been playing at all well in the past few weeks, so they need to try and fix it up. They've got the Giants next week. If it was at Optus Stadium, that could be a chance to try and turn their season around, but it's at Giant Stadium, and again, they're not really much of a chance in that one. But yeah, they get 5-8 again, 38. It's not great scoring, especially when you're conceding 112. Again, Melbourne, though, they've learned to start smashing and all that now, and they can really smash teams. Tom McDonald gets to 4 goals. Tim Kelly, 32 disposals, 139 fantasy for Petrarca, 12 tackles for Jack Viney. We'll start with the hit-outs, 26 for Gawn, 16 for Jackson, a brilliant ruck duo, or ruck combo. And then you've got Williams, 7, Jamieson, 6, McDonald, 5, Barras, 4, McGovern, 2. That's not normal players, McGovern and Barras, to go into the ruck. That's not normal. Showing that the time obviously was spent a lot in defence. Now Petrarca, 139 fantasy. He's amazing. 118 for Viney, 114 for West, 112 for Witherden, 105 for Rotham, 96 for McGovern, 95 for Kelly, 95 for Jordan. We'll go to goals and behinds now. 4 goals for McDonald, 3 for Pickett and Fritsch, 2 goals, 4 for Petrarca, 2 goals for Brown. So those are the multiple goal scorers. 32 disposals for Kelly, 29 for West and Oliver, 28 for Petrarca, 27 for Viney and Jordan, and then 26 for Duggan. And then halfbacks, Witherden, well, I'm not sure if Witherden's a halfback, but defenders, Witherden, Brayshaw, 24 each, 24 for Langdon as well, the winger with some good run and carry. Now have a look at some marks, 12 for Witherden, 10 for Rotham and Edwards, 10 for Barras. That's showing a lot of defensive work. Tackles, 12 for Viney, 8 for Petrarca, 7 for West and Redden, and of course hit-outs. We've already been through that, so we don't have to go back there again. Inside 50s, they were dominated by Melbourne, and they went inside 59 times. That's just showing their real dominance that they have. They are a really, really, really good team, Melbourne, right now. Again, hit-outs, clearances, dominated for Melbourne as well, by plus 10. And then nothing really else that's looking great. Nothing else looking great. West Coast led for just 3 minutes. Melbourne were in front pretty much the entirety of this game. Their biggest lead was 75, and the winning margin was 74. So again, pretty similar, but massive percentage booster for Melbourne. They'll be happy with this win. And look, they've got North Melbourne coming up next week. So again, no problems for Melbourne right now. Then they face Freo, but if Freo continue this not so great form, if this loss to Gold Coast does mess with them, wow, Melbourne, they could be looking very good. And Melbourne are looking great. They're the best team in the competition. So yeah, they'll go 10-0, I reckon, versus North Melbourne. And then their real test will be versus Freo. So that's going to be an interesting game coming up, Melbourne versus Freo. So there was plenty of big wins this round. Western Bulldogs defeated Collingwood by 48, and then Richmond got over the Hawks by 23. Port Adelaide smashed North Melbourne by 69, and then the Saints, an upset win, defeated the Cats by 10. Sydney smashed the Bombers, and the Lions smashed the Crows. And then the Suns got over the Dockers by 36. The Giants lost to the Blues by 30. And then the Demons smashed the Eagles by 74. Round 10 has a big blockbuster game to start things off. Carlton versus Sydney. That was probably the hardest game for me to tip of the round, that one. Bulldogs versus Suns. Really interesting game at Mars. And what can the Suns do? They've put up some great efforts recently. Geelong versus Port Adelaide, that is as big as the game will get as well for the rounds. Massive. Port Adelaide looking to try and attack the 8. The Cats coming off of a loss. North Melbourne versus Melbourne in the 4:35 time slot, twilight time slot. And Melbourne, they're going to be going big again, I reckon. Adelaide St Kilda coming off of a great win. Richmond Essendon, Dreamtime at the G. GWS versus West Coast. Well, GWS probably should win this game. Hawthorn versus Brisbane. How good is Brisbane's forward line? We've seen it excel in the past few weeks, and found this one tough to tip as well. Fremantle versus Collingwood. I reckon it goes either way. It is back at Optus, so I say Freo do have the started advantage, but look, Collingwood could definitely win this game as well. I feel like it is anyone's game. The ladder. Melbourne go 9-0. Brisbane, they've got a gap on the Dockers. That gap of 4 points could be massive. Brisbane are 8-1. Fremantle and Carlton are equal 4th. That is devastating for the Dockers now. They needed to try and manufacture something. They need to try and win versus the Suns yesterday to have still a gap on them, and now they don't. And then Sydney, if they manage to beat the Blues on Friday night and the Dockers lose, they will join all these three teams. The Saints can also join Carlton and Fremantle as well now. If Sydney were to win and Carlton and Freo were to lose. Some massive games coming up though, and then that's how the rest of the ladder is looking. So there's many different outcomes. Again though, you see Gold Coast, they could jump into the 8. Maybe if Geelong and Richmond both lose and they get enough percentage. I would say it would be unlikely, but they can really try and attack 9th if they get the points. So there's a lot of big games coming up in the next round of footy. So that is going to be it for today's video. The full round review will be coming out soon. But thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so then you guys will never miss another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.